Welcome everyone that's joined today. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. My name is Melanie. For those who don't know me, I am the COO here at the ACA, so really delighted you're with us today. I'm also super excited that we have Carla and Sim from our sponsors Management Design. This is our second webinar with them. Today they will be discussing and talking us through their established business foundations for architects and designers. Just a little bit of background, a bit of context in terms of our working relationship with Business for Design. We were first introduced to them through our association, our ties with the ACA in Australia, and then through meeting them in London Build in 2019, we were particularly keen to work with them based on the tremendous success that they have with clients and practices like yours in terms of how they can support you with your business, your finance, the strategic elements of your business, of your practice, which therefore enables you to focus and concentrate on the more creative elements of your practice, of your business, which is what you do, the architectural side, the design side. Thus knowing and having the safe knowledge in the background that that business, that the finance and the strategic elements are, are working operationally. So that's really why we're so pleased to be working with them in terms of how they can really support and help the practices of the members of the ACA. So without talking any further, I will hand you over to Carla and Sim, and we're hoping very much at the end there'll be an opportunity for a bit of a Q&A. So we do welcome any questions. So thank you very much, ladies, if you'd like to take the floor.
Wonderful. Thank you for the introduction, Melanie. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking time to attend our Business Foundations for Architects and Designers webinar. I'm delighted that you can all join us, and I hope we can provide you some insights and support to you all today. We're going to keep this at a high level, and we'll keep it roughly 20 minutes. But if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and we can provide you with individual support. The key objective of this session will be to introduce you to principles of business foundations that should be in place to establish, build, and sustain your firm. When you're working in a studio, typically your focus will be on project design and delivery and the management of clients. But there are many other elements of managing, controlling, and building a business that leaders require an intimate understanding of in order to cultivate success. I'm sure you're all aware that there is a significant difference between managing a business and designing and delivering projects. So throughout our years of working within this industry, we've had the opportunity to identify a number of common themes that we see throughout successful architectural businesses. A selection of these can be seen up on the screen. Not every successful firm will have all of these qualities, but they will most certainly display a majority of them. So have a look at this list and then write down where you're strong, what are your best qualities, and therefore what you need to continue doing. But also identify areas where you're lacking or you need help or support in. So what are the elements that will create and build a successful architectural business, and how do you get there? We have categorized the requirements into 10 key foundations. So start off with, what is your purpose and direction? That means having clarity of why you do what you do and where are you heading. Then there is leadership. Ensure that you have the correct leadership structure in place and that those leaders are working effectively. We also need to have good project and resource management, develop a consistent way of working, and reinforce and support that chosen approach. There's also systems, and these are the systems that you have in your business, and I'm not talking just about software. Financial control and profitability. This is how well is your business managed. Skills and expertise, having a great team around you, which can mean hiring for cultural fit first and skills second. Risk management. What are the structures that you have in place for reducing your risk? Marketing, communication, and brand. How will you connect existing and potential clients to your business? Then there is design, innovation, and delivery. Effective design management finds a balance between creative freedom and the consistency of procedure. And finally, there's succession planning. This element will come much later in your journey, but it's identifying and nurturing who will be the next leaders and directors of your company. So in today's session, we're going to focus on 5 elements, these being purpose and direction, leadership, project and resource management, systems, and financial control and profitability. So starting with your purpose and direction, your business is a very powerful vehicle for you to control your career, your life, your focus, your rewards, and who you surround yourself with. There's probably no more powerful vehicle if you can get this right and if you can have this under control. However, if this is not under control, it can instead control you. Our research indicates that about 70% of design businesses do not have a clear plan of where their business is now and where is it heading. That is 7 out of 10 people at leadership level who don't have a clear vision for their business. If the leaders aren't clear about the business, where the business is heading, how do you articulate this to the people and how do you get them on board? So where do you start? First of all, you need to have a clear understanding of where your industry is heading. You should be at the forefront of the industry and have a picture of what will be required into the future. As you know, there's a lot changing in the industry around procurement, new legislation, fees, constructions, to name a few. So where is it all going to head? What is the role of the architect, which is evolving? And how will that influence architects in the future? Where is your market heading? Secondly, you need to have a clear understanding of what you're great at and where will you focus. For your business to thrive now and into the future, you must be great at something that the market has a demand for. A key element of that for architects and designers is market expertise. Ask yourself, what am I great at? What will my business look like in 3 to 4 years' time? And what do I have to do to get there? Your strategy needs to be built around what drives your business. What will lead you to success now and into the future? You need to answer the types of questions you see on the screen. A strategy is built around the answers to these kinds of questions. You will need to ensure your strategic objectives have measurable criteria. Otherwise, how are you going to assess whether you're moving in the right direction? A strategic plan with concise objectives and clear plan for implementation only needs to be about 3 to 4 pages long. It requires the leadership team to come together and talk about the business for a day, research what's going on in the marketplace, and develop those strategic objectives and action plans around that. You should have a 3-year picture that clearly describes what your business will need to look like in 3 years and what needs to be in the next 12 months to move the business towards that. The key element is to have a clear path, something that you're all aligned to as a leadership team. It must be something that is communicated with your key people and everyone must be on board with it. Now moving on to leadership. What are the challenges for leaders of an architectural business? Well, leaders of architectural business have some challenges that are unique to them when compared to other industry. One of the main ones being architects who go out on their own do so because of their great design skill and not necessarily driven by the need to create a business. They're typically talented and have experience in designing, nurturing clients and delivering projects. However, they may have limited expertise in establishing and running and growing a successful business. Leaders in architectural business won't typically get exposure to the fundamentals of business management in their career until they make a decision to start a practice on their own. The fundamentals like cash flow management or technology infrastructure, for example, won't have had much relevance to their prior work and therefore might not be their area of expertise. Business management is secondary to why they've established their business. Some common attributes of great leaders in an architectural practice can be seen on screen. Leaders in business need to show the way. They need to develop and expect a culture that respects business accountability, management, performance, profitability, and systems. By developing and investing in a culture of accountability and project control, businesses ensure that their most important assets, their people, understand the underlying purpose, skills, and profit-increasing practices associated with strong project and resource management. This is what enables us to work together to control the business. As leaders, you can't ignore these elements. You need to talk about it and make it important to the wider business. We say, as a rule of thumb, you should spend at least half a day to a day per week on your business, which I know may be hard for smaller business, but you need to spend time on your business rather than in your business. Be it nurturing and mentoring your key people, developing systems, marketing plans, or even your own personal development. None of these will come overnight. It takes time, experience, and learning from others. There is a lot to be gained from mentors, so do surround yourself with people who you value and trust and advise you. In our profession, we find that experienced people are very generous with their time, advice, and expertise. So tap into it, learn from others, and then pass on that knowledge.
Thanks, Sim. Now on to project management. So project management has far less to do with people than you've been led to believe. If you want to make a meaningful impact in this area, your effort needs to be on developing a consistent way of working, putting your system in place, and reinforcing and supporting that approach. Ask yourself, how do I manage projects across the studio and on a project-to-project basis? Great project management is fundamental to business success in our industry, and there is a number of software solutions that can assist. Now, as you know, a project plan is built around the work that's required. So we have our stages, tasks, start and end dates, the hours it's going to take, assignment of resource, milestone, percentages complete. In the studio, you should have a schedule of consolidated projects. All projects need a plan, and the more complex the project, the more detail is generally required. Next step is to track your progress on a weekly basis as a minimum. And what we're looking for is the percentage of work complete, the percentage of hours used, the estimate to complete, and then capturing any reasons for variances. Typically, we find it easy to track progress with hours opposed to pounds. However, it does depend on the individual business. So plan the work required in hours, and at 50% complete, you should have used 50% of the hours allocated. The best way to track this progress is to have a project reporting system in place. It is important to track fees and costs by projects to ensure that projects can all be completed within their set budget and stay profitable. The accumulation of the profit of each project makes up the overall financial performance of the practice. And only when the business has established what the profitability of each of the projects are, can it make accurate decisions about resourcing and fees. And unfortunately, most firms will not have effective systems in place to they adhere to for managing projects or resources across the studio. Through the good or bad times, the equation that defines business success for professional service businesses remains the same. Optimizing people skills and capacity equals increased profitability. While the math may be simple, the realization of this potential can be a lot more challenging. Great resource management is the key to solving this equation. It effectively provides a framework within which businesses can easily and effectively plan, implement, and deploy their people skills. So what is resource management? It's about looking at who is working on what and when, who is available, who is over and underutilized. What are the resource requirements moving forwards? It needs to tie into your billings now and into the future, and it should include a regular review. You may also know resource management as people planning or utilisation. But in essence, it is a solution for planning, managing and deploying the right people with the right skills on the right projects for the right amount of time. And there is a big difference between people being busy and people being productive. Have a look around your studio and you'll see people who are busy, yet their utilisation rates and therefore their productive hours are at an unsatisfactory low level. As a business, you should have a clear picture of the workload moving forward, both the confirmed and the potential work. Do you use your work one and your work remaining to assess your workload moving forward? What does using this information mean for your resource requirements moving forward? Well, the two components need to match, and it may take some work and experience to determine how these two should influence each other. And if you haven't figured it out or need some guidance, we're happy to provide some assistance. An effective and comprehensive resource plan ensures you've got the right number of people to complete the work and that you also have the right number of people to help grow the firm. Now, I've referenced systems in the last couple of slides, and I'll start by clarifying that a system is not a piece of software. When we talk about systems in this context, we're talking about a set of behaviours. It's the way you do things in your business, and doing it consistently establishes your systems. Identify, describe, and codify. This is the way we're going to do it. This is how we're going to develop a fee proposal. This is how we're going to project plan. These are the templates we're going to use. That's your system. How well your practice works is directly proportional to the effectiveness of your systems. And when we say how well it works, well, we're talking about the quality of the work you produce, the clients you're engaging, your financial performance. They are all without a doubt directly related to those systems that you have in place. Here are some questions you can ask yourself about the systems in your business. How do we ensure that we have the right fee? How do we manage our time and our projects? How do we track project performance? How do we ensure that we will be paid? How do we ensure that our people are fully utilised? And how do we manage our financials? Which of these systems do you have in place? Are there any you have not yet established? The right software solution is a key component of your system and is critical to enabling a more productive work environment. When it comes to promoting consistent ways of working, you need to demonstrate leadership and take an interest in it. You need to express the importance of it in staff meetings, keeping your team on top of timesheets and project planning, and clearly communicating the reasons why it is critical. As an example, we need timesheets so that we can record the time on the projects. This will help in calculating fees to charge and understanding if we're going to make a profit on the project and if we're working efficiently. These conversations build the culture of the business, and principals need to set the example and place importance on the systems. As you can see, there are many benefits that can be achieved by having systems in place. So ensure that you allocate sufficient time on managing your systems, not just managing your people. Next is financial control and profitability, or in other terms, how well is your business managed? Profitability is a very good indicator of the effectiveness of your business and your business management. Tracking profit is a necessity. Achieving 20% profit, which is income less expenses before tax, should be your benchmark. That's a realistically achievable goal for any architectural business. Treat your financials as a scorecard for your business. Your financials will give you the information on how well you're going, if you're on track or not, and if not, what corrective actions are needed. Do you need to change your approach or keep going as you are? And what do you need to do going into the future? The key thing about profit is not so much a means to an end, but what it allows you to do with your business. A strong profit allows the ability to take on the work you want to take on, work with the clients that you want to work with, say no to projects and clients. It allows you to attract, reward, and remunerate the best people, and to invest in marketing, technology, growth, and training. Strong financial performance and profitability allows you to feel that you are in control of your business as opposed to your business controlling you. So what do we mean when we're talking about having financial control? It's about having at your fingertips the measures or information that will or should drive your decision-making going forward. As an example, what revenue are we producing on a monthly basis? And by what project? And how does this compare with our forecasts? Then looking forwards, what are your project projections? Knowing what your billings are going to be for at least the next 3 months. The ability to predict future work provides you with the information to project out your resourcing. This information also provides a background for your budget moving forward. And no doubt you all have a budget. So how do you know with some degree of certainty how much revenue you will produce? Well, you could use your work generated as a starting point. All this information is irrelevant unless you review it. You need to set up a regular monthly meeting. And you need to have someone in this meeting who can interpret this information, someone who understands financials. And that someone could be your in-house team or your external accountant. This element is very important as many of your business decisions will be driven from your financial performance. This review meeting should be non-negotiable, scheduled, regular, and attended by your key people and accountant. It is a critical forum for you to stay on top of how your business is performing. So in conclusion, I want to reinforce the real essence of business in architecture is you need to focus on your business rather than in your business. Focusing on the foundations of business creates a model for success. Always ask yourself, are you the right or the best person for doing this work? And is it why you went into business? Is it fulfilling you? You need to make a decision about the type of business you want to build. Are you building yourself a business or creating a job for yourself? Can you step away from the business without it falling over? Try to think of your business as the real product of your work and design your business to deliver great business outcome. So what is your business like now? Look at the different foundations and mark them out of 10. Where do you currently sit? Create a benchmark and look at the areas you need to improve. There is so much satisfaction that you can realize by designing and building a business. You have the ability to influence so many lives through it. Your own, your family, your people, and your partners. So what's next? I've provided a lot of information today, so don't just file this information away in your brain. Make sure you're holding yourself accountable to enact positive change in the way you manage your business and succeed in the future. And I understand if you don't currently have systems and processes in place, making a start can be the hardest part. But you don't have to do it alone. There is support if you need it. So send me an email, ask questions, be curious, and be open to learning. And for the first 20 webinar attendees that reach out, we'll provide a complimentary review of your numbers to help you get moving in the right direction. So there we have it, the first 5 business foundations. And that's what Management for Design brings to industry and to you. By working with us, you'll put in place strong business foundations. That's what we do, that's our expertise. Please find on screen the different areas that Management for Design can help support your business. If any of these areas apply, please do reach out to us. We'll be conducting another webinar in partnership with ACA, covering the remaining 5 business foundations. Melanie will be sending out communication around this once a date has been set, so look out for this in your inbox. Thank you all for giving us your time and attention, and I hope that you feel some pride in taking the first step toward building and controlling your business. Our contact details are on the screen, and we'll be forwarding this webinar presentation to you all in the next few days and reach out to you on a one-on-one basis. In the meantime, we'd love to hear from you, so please do pop any questions you have in the Q&A section. Thanks, Melanie.
Thank you very much, Carla. I think I've unmuted myself. I always generally talk and I'm muted. So for me, I know we're doing a part 2, but in terms of, I guess, priorities, you've obviously covered 5 off now, and you're covering off another 5. I said for those on the line now, we will get a date set and circulated in the next week or so. But is there any priority in terms of what you've covered today and what you'll cover in the future? Or do you consider all 10 having equal priority in terms of, I guess, your business foundations that you offer your clients?
Yeah. Well, the reason we've only done 5 today is just purely time. There's not enough time to do 10 in one webinar, but it very much depends on where the business is at in their journey. So talking about succession planning may not be relevant for anyone who's at the end of their journey. And then starting out and looking at the start of your business will be, you know, the first platform of looking at your business success and how you're going to plan out growing your business. So yeah, different elements depend at different starts.
So they're individual to the practice, but in a way equally
it was simply just time
of the journey.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Or I mean, we've got a couple more minutes because I've got a couple of thoughts as you were chatting through. Does anyone on the line have anything to ask? Otherwise, I'm just going to ask my question. Well, I'll pop it. Oh, here we go. No, we've got a thank you from Russell. He needs to go to a meeting, so he says thank you very much, Russell Gray. He says thank you very much. He needs to dash to a meeting and he looks forward to the next session, so that's great. Thank you very much, Russell. I will ask my next question, but you know, we've got a couple of minutes, so do pop them through. You talk about utilisation a bit earlier on. I think that was your area, Carla. I think that's a tricky one when you talk about people being in the studio looking very busy in terms of in terms of their utilisation. How can you elaborate a little bit more on that? How do you ascertain that, and then how do you, I guess, how do you work around that to make sure that person who's not just looking so busy is actually then changing that into a much more productive?
Yeah, so usually a benchmark of utilisation is 75 to 85% of the person's time needs to be worked on billable hours. And that's down to timesheets and ensuring timesheets are completed, looking at your project job costs and tracking your projects through a reporting system, as we discussed. We say that directors should be around 30 to 50% maximal billable time because they should be concentrating on the business rather than in the business. And if we've got a disparity there where people are working on more non-billable hours, then we need to be looking at our total resources to our revenue billing and the percentage difference there and making some adjustments going forwards. But yeah, 75 to 85% is the benchmark that we work towards.
In terms of their billable hours.
Billable hours on
actual work there.
Yeah, we do understand that some employees will be working on tenders and submissions, but the majority of what I like to call worker bees should be 75 to 85%.
Okay.
Utilised.
Sorry, I did write these down, so forgive me if I'm looking at my notes beforehand. In terms of, I suppose, strategy being built about what will lead to winning work now and into the future, I mean, how do practices or as a leadership team explore that? How does that transfer from the now to the future?
Yeah, what we recommend is doing a workshop, and it's a service that we provide as well, coming together as a leadership team for at least a day and planning out what it is that you want to achieve in 3 years, and then breaking that down into what you can achieve in this first 12 months to get to that 3-year goal. But it's about also being off-site if possible. Obviously, the current environment might mean you're all in your homes, but we also recommend going off-site or being in the same room and being able to nut out that in 1 day or 2 days along the strategy of where your business wants to go, where they want to be within that 3 years, and then breaking it down into 12-month segments.
Okay, thank you. Got any questions? No questions for the attendees thus far, but I have one last question on my list, and that's more, I guess, I think it was covered again in the presentation, but in terms of, I guess, I open it up to both of you. In terms of your experience, do you have examples, do you have tips of how leaders or how directors or those who are running their own practice, their own business, how they can help foster that culture of real accountability, even, you know, where you're organised when you're running quite a small practice versus running a medium to large size practice? Do you have experience, tips on how to get that culture going, to enhance that culture?
I think transparency and being open to the team is very important, and consistent messaging. So, you know, as the leaders, you're the ones that need to show the way, and making sure whatever the messaging may be, it's consistent. It's very, very important. And also making sure people are included in the journey, again, fosters a culture of accountability.
Okay, thank you for that, Sim. I appreciate that. We're now at 35 minutes past, so a last call for anyone who wants to ask any questions. Otherwise, the details for both Sim and Carla are obviously on screen. If there's something that you want to directly speak to them that's more bespoke, individual to your practice, rather than sharing it today, please do. The ladies will be circulating and following up with you. So from our perspective, if there's anything else Sim and Carla you want to say, I'd like to say thank you very much indeed for your time, everyone who joined today, and we look very much to organising and having the next session.
Thank you, Melanie.
Cool.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, everyone.
All right, well, thanks everyone for joining, and I'm going to stop the recording now. So thank you all. I'll see you next time.